the different scenes that I have. This is the game itself right here. This will be the game over screen.
Make sure to talk about what you had, even if
Um,
it's not there anymore.
yeah, I was going to, as a matter of fact. This is the game over screen, essentially. Uh, Main menu, that's here. It's essentially everything that's here. I did have more prior, however, with the crashing and losing of code multiple times, I wasn't able to recover everything. But this is the most that I was able to get. I had the coins here, the coins text here, because I would have a coin counter, your script, or coin pickup, more so. So that every time that main character or player or crab would interact with a coin, uh, through collision, it would not only destroy the coin, but it would also make a sound effect. I had added also a sound effect to the crab whenever it walks through here. Key code, Voon keys. There's key codes here. There's also key code down in pawn. I have pawn and controller essentially linked together. These are all the things I have here for code. Well, there's obviously more, but this was also connected to coin pickup so that, again, there'd be the collision and the collection of the coins. And what also was to make this game fun was the timer that now is sadly not implemented in the game. Object that you can push around essentially is the minecart that is right here. Main objective is to collect all the coins, if you couldn't tell already. And what else? Let me see. Audio, user interface. Yeah. With each scene, I had different buttons, also the images and the text box for each scene, except for this one. Let's see what else. Yeah. So I might as well, for the current moment, play this, and as soon as I play it, the noise that will be heard is the one that would normally be made whenever the crab makes contact with the coin, and it would also destroy it at the same time. If it wants to play the audio, I suppose. But yeah, essentially, I would go over, collect the coins, play the audio, and the player, rigid body. I was here for the movement box collider. Um, was used also for collecting the coins each time. Controller and pawn, they were essentially together, and with that, essentially, that would be with apologies, yeah, that would be influenced with inheritance, how controller and pawn had essentially been sharing the code and inputs essentially. Well, more so that the controller wouldn't be able to function properly without the pawn being connected. See up here, header, counter text. This was going to be for the coin to be counted. Let's see what else. And so I'll just restart the game. So we'll go around here. WSAD to move around. Q to turn clockwise. E to turn counterclockwise. As long as I have those as features at least. also be collected. I made sure that uh, each square here was not able to be essentially passed, such like these here as well. Did the same thing with the coins. You normally have 30 seconds to make sure you could get all of the coins. Through here, try pushing the minecart and get the coin. After that, essentially that would lead you to the next scene. Oh, the final scene that I had originally. But how my code influences inheritance, like I've mentioned before, the pawn and controller scripts are essentially connected together through a public pawn and public class pawn here as well. With polymorphism, sharing the same name. Let me see. Yeah. So each object will have their own different things that they would do, like with all of the coins. Whenever they are interacted with, each one will make a sound, but depending on whichever one it is that you collect last, or whatever one you collect last is going to lead you, or would lead you, to the final slide, or final scene more so. With abstraction, abstraction is essentially the principle of object-oriented programming, or the OOP. Essentially holding information within each class that is here. Yeah. Within each class, they would have their own things within here that would control different parts of the game. So one screen, this was going to be the timer that would have a display. The pawn and the controller were already mentioned prior. Main menu would be, of course, for the main menu. Crab block. This is essentially for audio and movement with the crab. Whenever it would walk. Game over again. Game over screen. Already talked about controller. So coin pickup would essentially help with collecting each coin and the sound that would be made whenever it would be collected. And camera follow, this one at first was a little difficult, but I essentially have the camera following above the crab, so that wherever it is that it goes within the area here, then essentially, yeah, the crab will be followed by the camera. And I'll show some more with the scenes if I find it properly. Here we go. I had buttons for each screen or each scene where there's retry, which would lead you back to the main menu, and quit, which would have you automatically exit the game essentially. And hierarchy, main camera, canvas. Here we have the panel, retry. The quit and retry buttons were essentially here with the code that was used. Canvas is how it was essentially set up, and that is also the same thing with the main menu. So audio listener is also used for any noise that would be made for any object or any scene, anything like so. But essentially, that is everything. I hope you enjoy the project, and hopefully if possible, if this game would ever work without crashing or having any technical difficulties. Hopefully, it will be fun in the future. And one last thing that I had forgotten to mention was not here. In here, I have the repo set up. Right here, fall 2025. Yeah, not everything. No, it is everything essentially here involved with the final project. I have all saved here. I made a whole branch for it as well. You see right here, and I have a pull request for them as well. So if any of the code is to be looked at, then yeah. And not every single piece of code was used, like death, for example, for this game. So that's what, like, to differentiate between them, there is text that I have here compared to these ones here, like death recensor, death destroy,